我想问一下屏幕前的各位兄弟们一个问题：你这辈子
I want to ask all the guys watching a question. What do you consider your ideal life to be? I think most of you might say you want to find a wife, start a family, work hard to support them, and live a stable and happy life, right? For most men in China or elsewhere in East Asia, the main goals in life often boil down to having a wife, kids, and a career. That's just the reality. So why are Chinese men so focused on continuing their lineage, getting married, and having children? First off, we're heavily influenced by traditional culture, which teaches that starting a family and building a career is how men should live. It's seen as a source of happiness, fulfillment, and hope. That's why many men are willing to dedicate their entire lives to their families for the sake of marriage and children. For lower-income men, getting married and having kids can also provide a significant sense of security. What do I mean by that? Well, poorer men don't have the same advantages as rich and powerful men, who have always had easy access to women. For them, women are like clothes that can be easily swapped out. But for lower-income men, having a wife, a cozy home, and kids really represent stability and security in life. This is why so many men, especially those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, are particularly committed to marriage and starting families. You can see this in rural areas where men's parents go to great lengths, even selling belongings, to pay for a large dowry. But times have changed. In the past, when men got married, their first wife typically wouldn't just walk away because societal norms didn't allow it. Plus, there was a strong expectation that children would be biologically theirs, as women were more conservative in their sexual behavior. That's not the case anymore. Even if you drain your parents' savings and spend hundreds of thousands on a dowry, your wife can leave you whenever she wants, and the kids might not even be yours. This means that marriage no longer offers the same security for lower-income men, and this harsh reality has become clear to those who have woken up to it. Many have stopped clinging to the idea of marriage and kids, believing that living alone can be just as fulfilling. However, for those men who haven't realized this, they still hold on to that idea, often draining their family's finances to pay a hefty dowry, only to end up losing both their money and their partner, sometimes even finding out that their children aren't biologically theirs. These days, marriage mainly offers security to Chinese women, while it doesn't guarantee anything for men. If you look at the civil law, you'll see that marriage brings men nothing but responsibilities and burdens without any security. On the flip side, marriage provides women with all the security they need. There's no obligation for them to have children, stay loyal, or manage the household according to traditional roles. This lack of obligation hasn't been addressed in the long evolution of marriage law, which upheld high moral standards while ignoring contemporary issues like feminism and sexual liberation. This demonstrates that the meaning of marriage has changed for men, especially for those from lower-income backgrounds. It's not just that there are no guarantees. The risks are too high. As a result, more and more men are waking up to this reality. In both the matchmaking and marriage markets, an increasing number of men are reluctant to get married. They see it as more advantageous to work, earn money, and, in the future, have the financial means to support younger women. Their sexual needs can be satisfied through other avenues, such as casual encounters or short-term relationships, allowing them to live freely and enjoy life. They can think about settling down later on. I wonder if the guys watching right now share this mindset. That said, there's no need to be overly pessimistic. I believe that as long as you work on your emotional intelligence and gain relationship experience, you can still find genuinely good women who share your values. Nowadays, just being a good and honest man isn't enough to guarantee a fulfilling life. You also need to be strategic and charming. Women are drawn to that kind of man. So, men need to grow and develop. You know what I mean, right? You can't just be a hardworking guy without being effective. Otherwise, you'll end up losing both money and respect. You can be a good man, but in romantic relationships, you need to be savvy and able to read people. You got to know how to manage and nurture those relationships. This skill is as crucial as the ability to navigate and succeed in society. What do you think about my perspective? Let's talk about it.
The gender ratio in China is seriously out of whack, with 30 million more men than women. But despite this, Men have a ton of options when it comes to dating and marriage. Did you know that in some parts of China, the ratio of men to women in the marriage market is as low as 1 to 3, and in some places, it's even 1 to 8? That means for every 8 women looking to get married, there's only one guy available. But why is this the case? It's because a lot of average guys haven't even entered the marriage market yet. They're too busy building up their savings and delaying their entry. Are these guys really not ready for marriage? Let's take a closer look. Say you're an average office worker making around 6,000 yuan a month. That's about $1,000. After rent, utilities, and other expenses, you're left with maybe 1,000 to 2,000 yuan at the end of the month. And that's if you're lucky. Sometimes you might even be in the red. So, when you're already struggling to make ends meet, how can you afford to date or get married? It's just another financial burden to worry about. In today's society, women expected that men will spend money on their partners. Businesses and social media are always pushing this idea that if a guy isn't willing to shell out cash for his girlfriend, he must not really care about her. And during holidays, there's all this pressure to give gifts, send money, or buy fancy presents. It's like, come on, can't we just chill? But no, it's become this societal norm that men have to be the ones to provide. Things have changed a lot since our parents' generation. Back then, it was all about 2 people working together, supporting each other, and building a life as a team. Nowadays, it's all about the guy being the breadwinner and the woman being the homemaker. And if you're a young guy trying to make it in the world, finding a partner can feel like just another weight on your shoulders. Times are changing, and our expectations are changing with them. In our era, it's easier to survive than it was for our parents, but our desires have also gotten more complicated, especially for women who are influenced by all these feminist ideas. It used to be about 2 people working together, but now it's often just one person carrying the load. And that's not fair to either side. So, in today's society, a lot of Chinese men are choosing to delay or opt out of the marriage and dating market altogether. Can you blame them?
Marriage? What's the point? Honestly, even if someone offered me a wife for free, I wouldn't be interested. You know why? The game has changed. Look around today, and you'll see that a lot of young people aren't keen on getting married. It's usually the guys who end up getting hurt in these situations. Do you know what that means? Getting married often brings a ton of expenses. Let me break it down for you. If a guy decides to get married, he might have to pay a bride price of 288,000 yuan, plus car loans and a mortgage. Basically, lots of financial burdens. The pressure can be overwhelming. He's expected to buy his wife handbags, cosmetics, and all sorts of things, which can add up quickly. Once he's married, those basic expenses just skyrocket. What I figured out is a strategy I like to call automatically avoiding high expenses. If I stay single, I can sidestep a lot of those costs. Fast forward a few decades to when I'm in my 40s or 50s, and I'll have built up a decent amount of wealth by then. I'll have more options, and it won't matter if I decide to marry or not later. These days, divorce is so common. If I decide to get married in the future, it'll be when I'm financially stable and can handle all the expenses without stress. By then, my life should be going well, and I'll have avoided those high costs while focusing on building my wealth. Plus, I'll save on the bride price. Even if I do end up marrying and having kids later, my situation will be much better. And when I'm older or more stable financially, I won't have to worry about buying milk formula or diapers, and I won't have to worry about investing in their education, which can get really expensive. If my kids treat me well, I might help them out, but if they don't, I won't be upset because I can take care of myself. You see, when you get married, there's a hefty bride price, and having kids means even more expenses. You've got to go to dinner with the in-laws, buy gifts, give red envelopes, and cover costs when they get sick. If I wait until I'm 40 or 50 to find a partner, by then, my parents will probably be gone, so I won't have to deal with as many medical expenses. At that point, it'll just be about enjoying life and doing things for myself. Honestly, the biggest stress for young people comes from family pressures, bride prices, and all that. I've completely avoided that hassle. Later on, I can just kick back, relax, and enjoy my life. I can soak in a bath, unwind, and take it easy. I'll eat and drink what I want, and when problems come up, I won't let them get to me. Life can genuinely be that carefree.
Let me hit you with a harsh reality. In the future, there will be fewer and fewer men willing to get married in China. The reasons for this are pretty tough to accept. First off, most average guys are going to be weighed down by financial pressures and overwhelmed by responsibilities. These days, women often chase after sugar daddies while looking for financial support from those who aren't as well off. Take cues from Guangdong and Sichuan, where rules for registering a child's birth have changed, so parents don't even need to be married anymore. This means more and more wealthy men might not even feel the need to get married to have kids. Young and pretty women can easily find a sugar daddies to support them without getting married, letting them splurge on credit cards, buy designer bags, and travel. Meanwhile, middle-class men earning over 10,000 yuan can still struggle financially, dealing with car loans, mortgages, and expenses related to their parents' or kids' tutoring fees, constantly fighting to stay afloat. In the end, the assets go to the wife, and her name is on the salary card, leaving the man with almost nothing. Secondly, most women look down on or disrespect their husbands. Most husbands end up being seen as just money-making machines. And here's the toughest pill to swallow. If a woman doesn't have money but is capable of having children, sugar daddies are willing to take care of her, even if they won't admit it publicly. On the other hand, when a man is broke, most women tend to pull away